trip has been many, many months in the making, and I'm very, very happy to say that it is officially kicked off at this point. Over the next 3 weeks, I'll be hitting Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, linking up with the boys, taking them to New Mexico, then Arizona, back into southern Utah, over to Nevada, and back into Oregon. I'm currently above Blacks Creek, and the timing could not have been better to get to camp because it is dusk and the sun is setting over the mountains as we speak. The transition from Cascadia to the Rockies is one of a kind, and I really think you're going to enjoy it. Well, this is the turnoff for the trailhead. That break in the trees right there is where the trail runs. So, considering that drift is taller than I am, I don't think that's going to work. Onward. Onward we go. One of the things you'll find if you do this long enough is that you have to make a lot of executive decisions. The best laid plans, mice and men kind of situation. So originally the plan was to go up into Cache National Forest and camp above Bear Lake in Utah. Obviously that wasn't going to happen. So given the fact that I'm going to be back in Utah after the Arizona portion, I figured, hey, why not just kind of skip right through here and head straight over to Wyoming? So that's what I did. So I'm currently on BLM land, not far from the Green River. So needless to say, we do not have the snow that we had up a couple thousand feet higher over there in Utah, which is nice. This little spot's up at about 6,300 feet. If it wasn't obvious, high desert. Very familiar terrain. Not a bad place to spend the night at all. I mean, I say that. I did find a set of footprints not far from camp, right next to what could be dog tracks. Although it occurs to me that it could just be, like a skinwalker, just a coyote that changed form. So maybe in the middle of the night tonight, I'll be ripped to pieces by some sort of cryptid. Or maybe I'll accidentally step into like a rattlesnake den and then, I'll be struck by like half a dozen of them and have some sort of heart attack or something before I can get back to town. But till then, so after the layover in Colorado, it was time to take the boys out, show them what the Southwest is all about.
I like to be educated, but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before I knew. Rewind, take it out of cue. Innocence can be a young man's game. Signed up for the hall of shame. I wish I knew how much I miss. I know
say when it rains, it pours. No pun intended. We got dumped on when the forecast said there would be no rain. And boy, does it get worse from there. Dan had a bit of an issue where his idle was weird and he was blowing some smoke, and I feared that he had injector issues. Turns out he had a harmonic balancer that went into the stratosphere and gave up the ghost when he decided he was going to run back into town and grab some odds and ends today. So I am currently on my way to hook up a strap, and we're going to pull him back to camp. But the fun doesn't stop there. Not only did we catch one fish between 3 men and 6 reels today in the span of like 12 hours, which as far as I'm concerned is as good as getting skunked. But my PFD and my GoPro that I had a lot of cool footage from this trip on got stolen from us when we were all of 15 meters away. We left some stuff under a tree, maybe 50 meters. I mean, that's even being generous. And someone felt brave enough to swipe it and run off before we had a chance to go back to pick up tackle boxes and all the rest of it. So in the span of one day, been stolen from again. We got skunked fishing, which, you know, arguably worse. And of course the creme de la creme, the worst of all, the venerable 80 series Land Cruiser, the indestructible Toyota myth. We have once again seen chinks in the armor. And yeah, the cruiser is no good, and Dan's portion of this trip has come to a pretty frustrating end. So yeah, we have another 15 days to hang in there and do cool stuff and try to make up for the fact that today was about as bad of a day for the gang as you could really ask for. Knock on wood, it won't get any worse, but you know, who knows? On a drizzly Tuesday morning, 4 became 2. Rob headed home, and we called up AAA to get Dan over to a truck and trailer to take the 80 back to Colorado with. Daryl and I spent the night on a quiet valley floor, popping shots and staring at the fire. I still had 12 nights left, so I did some laundry while Daryl got a slow leak in one of his tires fixed. After that, we fished for a minute in town, and then went over to Dark Sky Brewing for lunch, before finally heading up to the one and only Glen Canyon. We ate dinner in town, then spent one more awesome night in Kaibab National Forest, just outside of the South Rim. Next day, Daryl had to head back to Colorado, and I resumed my solo mission. 73-year-old badass who lives just outside of Ridgeway. I was able to clear the trail through multiple snow drifts, down trees, and everything else you can imagine to get a fantastic camp view on the other side of the Grand Canyon. After an awesome night just outside of Zion on BLM land, I decided to get into the park proper by throwing on my hiking boots and checking it out on foot. As I left Zion and headed towards Bryce, I knew that I couldn't do so without hitting Tokerville Falls along the road. I did just that, then headed up to about 9,000 feet for a nice high mountain camp. Bryce the next morning certainly did not disappoint, and after checking that out for a couple hours, I headed up to Nevada. Unfortunately, most of Great Basin National Park was still snowed out, and I couldn't get any tickets to the morning tours over at Lehman Caves. I had a 6-hour drive ahead of me, so I started to get it done. Of course, nothing ever quite works out the way you plan. What was supposed to be a second night in Nevada quickly turned into me driving up and down mountains, exploring all sorts of land in southeast Portland. Take long for me to find myself on the lakes of Central Oregon. I camped down on rivers and up on mesas, next to cacti in the desert, and under the trees in the woods. Only one thing I hadn't seen yet. Spent an awesome final weekend with my buddy Mike out on the Oregon coast, and it really put a bow on an already fantastic trip. I've got nothing but love for all the boys, and it wouldn't be the same without them. I'll certainly always remember this one. Can't wait for the next.